Today we'll be looking at browser hardening. On this episode, Africa's exploit. Browser hardening refers to the way in which we can configure our web browser settings with the goal of enhancing security and privacy. So to do that, let's go to our browser. To view or change the tab settings, we need to go to the menu bar at the top. Click there and select settings. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to go to home. So where it says home page and new windows, I'm going to select blank page. So this will make your browser open faster and eliminate the unnecessary loading of a default web page. So after that, we'll go to privacy and security. Scroll down until you reach cookies and sites. So we will select delete cookies and sites data when Firefox closes. So select that. So this will ensure that cookies are not saved after your browser session has ended. So we scroll down again, and then where it says logins and passwords. So we need to select use a primary password, or formerly is known as a master password. So usually the way browsers store password is not doing that in a secure manner. So we need to enable use a primary password. So you're going to select that, and then you'll set your password of your choice. So I'll do that also, and then press OK. So now anytime when you try to access your saved password in your browser, Firefox will require an authentication password. So it says primary password successfully changed. Click OK. So you go to history. So we are going to select, click there, going to select use custom setting for history. I'm going to select that, and then deselect remember browsing and download history, and deselect again remember searches and form history. So we're going to select clear history when Firefox closes. We're going to scroll down. So when you up until we reach Firefox data collections and use. So if where it says allow Firefox to install and run studies, it is selected, you need to deselect it. And then also you need to deselect where it says allow Firefox to send backlogged crashes report on your behalf. So the reason why you have to deselect this is because of this option. Deselecting this option prevents Firefox from sending data about your session to their servers. So scroll down up till where you reach HTTPS only mode. So you need to enable HTTPS only mode. So this option will make sure that your browser only accepts HTTPS enabled web pages. So when you try to access HTTP web pages, it will give you a warning that you are about to access the insecure web page. Firefox allows users to modify configuration settings, and some of these deal with privacy and security concern. So let's go to our Firefox. So on your URL bar, type aboufcconfig. Config. So you will receive a warning about making changes within this area, but the modification we are going to make will be safe. So accept the risk and continue. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'll go to my cheat sheet. So we'll enable privacy tracking protection to true. I'll copy that and paste it to my URL bar. So it says privacy tracking protection enabled is set to false. I'm going to change that to true. So it will block website from tracking us. This setting will block website from tracking us. Okay, let's proceed. So I'm going to select geo.enabled. Go again to my URL bar. I'm going to set that to false. So this disables Firefox from sharing your location. So the next modification is going to be browser.safebrowsing.phishing.enabled. Okay, paste that to your URL bar. So I'm going to set this to false. So this settings disables Google safe browsing and phishing protection. If this setting is set to true, Google will be able to scan and store the sites that you visited for the protection of malware. So we don't want Google to scan our sites that we have visited. Listen. So let's continue. So we're gonna select browser, safe browsing and malware. I'm gonna set that to false. Go again to our URL bar on Firefox. So we are going to set that to false. So again, this setting disables Google's ability to monitor your web traffic for malware, storing sites that you have visited. So we don't want Google to even to store the sites that we have visited. So let's continue. So we're going to dom.event.clipboard.enabled. So we're going to set that also to false. So going to URL bar, paste the configuration. So we're going to set this to false. So these settings, many websites will request a notification if you copy a text or image from their website. They may also be notified if you select part of their pages. This setting disables the ability for the website to access this information. So note that these changes may cause issues with copying and pasting within websites. Okay, so let's continue. So we're going to select media.navigator.enabled. We're going to set that to false. So select and paste your URL bar. So we're going to set that to false. So these settings, the reason why we set this setting, so website operator will identify your computer as a unique and enable tracking around the web. So one such tactic is to track the status of your webcam and microphone. So this disables the ability for websites operator to see the information about your. Okay, let's. Okay. Okay, let's go copy that dom.battery.enabled. So we're gonna set that to false. So another technique used by website operator to track you is to view your exact battery level. These settings prevent this information from being shared. So let's continue. So we're gonna go into extensions.pocket.enabled. We're gonna set that to false also. Paste your URL bar, set to RTC. So WebRTC stands for Web Real-Time Communication. So the next few settings in the about config with the WebRTC vulnerability that can allow IP address to be leaked even if you are using a VPN. So the first configuration that we're going to make is media peer connection. Let me just copy that. So we're gonna set that to false. And then the next setting that we're gonna make is media peer connection 10. So it's supposed to be 10. I'm gonna change this M to 10. We're gonna set that to true, and then we're gonna go to media peer connection documents. Paste into a URL bar. We're gonna set that to false, and then lastly we're gonna go to media peer connection video enabled. We're gonna set that to false. So it is not vital that all of these security settings be applied in your system. So Firefox natively respects the privacy of and security of its users. So these recommendations are for those that truly want to tweak additional security in their layer of protection. So the last thing that you can do is to add an extension called URL block.